Ladies and gentlemen, children of the interwebs out there, Sebastian Envy, Strong Style Cinephile, and we got ourselves a Power Rangers 30th anniversary special, which is coming to Netflix in April. Let's geek about that for a few minutes, because I typically don't talk about Power Rangers much on this channel, because there are plenty of other channels out there that do. Dosum Rider, I believe that's how you say his name, is one that I follow a lot for Power Rangers related stuff. But Netflix dropped it wasn't a trailer, but it was more like a behind the scenes featurette on the upcoming 30th anniversary, which I knew they were going to get some past Rangers to come back for, and I saw it, and I was just like, I got to talk about it on my channel because I'm super geeked about Power Rangers. I've been a lifelong fan, of course, back from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the original, that was, of course, adapted from Kyoryuger Sentai Zeo Ranger. I'm a huge fan. Once I found out about the original Super Sentais they were adapted from, I got to be a huge fan of those, so I watch all those. I watch Kamen Rider, all that fun Toku Super Sentai stuff. I watch it all, love it all. I still have my OG Megazord. I still remember the stories my mom used to tell me about parents throwing down like fisticuffs in the stores over these toys, over the Power Rangers toys. Thankfully, I got them. I have plenty of other Megazords over the years. There's some I missed out on. I'm still kicking myself because when I lived in Louisiana, there was the Storm Megazord from Power Rangers Ninja Storm, and it was on clearance, and I didn't buy it, and now I see it at Retro Madness in Bedford for like $100, and I'm just like, oh man, I should have, might pull the trigger on it. And they have like I believe the Overdrive Megazord, the first one, they have that in there too. So I might have to start copping some of these Megazords. And Morphers, the figures not so much, but Megazords, Morphers is stuff that I like to collect and have in my collection. I've been to Power Morphicon several times, so I've met some of the Ranger actors. Some of them are amazing. Some of them are douchebags. I'm looking at you, Rhett Fisher. Danny Slavin, I'm looking at you. But some people are the salts of the earth. Erin Cahill, great, phenomenal, humble. She was fun and cool to meet. Daniel Southworth, Jason Font, again, two of the best guys. I took a picture with them on, I believe it was like Friday, and it came out blurry, so I went back to them Saturday and said, hey, can we retake this picture? And they were totally cool about it. So I love those guys. Met Walter, met David Yost, who are, of course, coming back for this 30th anniversary special. Johnny Bosch, Karen Ashley, just Catherine Sutherland. Did not meet her, I don't think. Look back, I'll throw up some pictures and stuff as I'm talking about from Morphicon, but just the idea that we're getting these guys back. The special is called Once and Always, which is a play off of the Overdrive two-parter, Once a Ranger, Always a Ranger, which saw some folks come back. And I'm a sucker for team-ups. I'm a sucker for like stuff like this when past Rangers come back. So it's very cool. It's very cool to see David and Walter back on the set, because they haven't been on the set in like 30 years. The fact that you have Steve Cardenas and Walter, who they were both Mighty Morphin, they were just different casts, so they have actually never been on set on Power Rangers together. So that kind of stuff is cool. Just from a story standpoint, I'm kind of wondering how things are going to be, because we know from Power Rangers Dino Fury that Lord Zed is back, shenanigans. So what's going to bring these Rangers back, I wonder, especially because Billy, last time we saw him, he was going off to Aquitar to be with the alien Ranger chick and to get a cure for him being old and stuff like that. Walter, you know, got peace conferenced. We know about that, how that went down. And then Adam took his morpher, and then that got broke, so Adam kind of lost his powers, but Adam is back, and so is Zach, and morphing. So I'm sure there's going to be some like temporary shenanigans where they're going to get a temporary morpher or something where they can do it like one last time, that one last battle, kind of like in Thunderstorm, Part 1 and Part 2, the awesome team up between Ninja Storm and Dino Thunder, where the Storm, the Wind and Thunder Rangers got like their powers back for one last final morph, and of course they were done. So I'm thinking that's going to be what happens with the Rangers in this special. But it's just, it's cool to see that the show has lasted this long, that it's raised generations of fans and people who watch the show, people who got introduced to Super Sentai through the show, maybe people who came over from Super Sentai to Power Rangers. There have been some hits and some misses over the years, some great seasons, some really terrible seasons, but all in all, it's fun. Like I'm here for it all. I watch it all. I love it all. So I am totally geeked about this 30th anniversary special. It sucks that some people won't be a part of it. Looking at you, Amy Jo Johnson, she came out and said that she didn't say no, but she didn't say yes either, which a lot of people are speculating. Basically, they didn't throw the bag at her, which is understandable. Hey, if she requires a certain price to come back to it, you know, it is what it is. She has gone on from Power Rangers to be a prolific actress on a number of series. She's really prolific behind the camera as a director on a lot of shows. So she's doing some things. It's not like she needs Power Rangers, but also I don't think Walter and David need Power Rangers. But at the same time, it was cool that they came back to it, just like it was cool when the Rangers came back for the Super Mega Force big battle for those that came back for that. Like, I don't think they needed it. I don't think they needed the payday, but it was just cool that they were willing to come back for that. So I'm kind of sad that one of the most popular OG Ranger actors is not coming back, but it is what it is. It's also kind of a cloud kind of hanging over things because Jason David Frank, who took his own life late last year, will not be a part of it. I saw in the footage in the featurette where they have a Green Ranger in there, so I'm assuming that'll just be kind of in voice only. Hopefully, maybe they can take some of his past voice stuff from past episodes to put in if they're going to have him speaking, and not have, because I remember the Dino Thunder SPD team up, one of the episodes, the actor who was Trent did the voiceover stuff for Tommy because they didn't have Jason David Frank in there, and it just sounded weird. So I'm hoping they don't find somebody to just do his voice for that. They actually rip some audio, that they're able to rip some audio to actually have it be Jason David Frank's voice. I'm sure there's going to be like a tribute text or whatever to him. It's cool. I was never, for so many Rangers and Ranger fans, Tommy is like Jesus, like the Jesus Ranger. He's be all end all. He was never that for me personally. I liked him. I liked what he meant to the franchise. But he was never that for me. But I did like when he came back. I liked when he came back in Dino Thunder, when he came back for subsequent team-ups and stuff like that. It was just cool. Again, I don't think he necessarily needed the bag, but it was cool that he came back for it for the fans. From everybody that I know personally that have met him, they all say glowing things about him. Look online, see people say glowing things about him. He freely admits, other people kind of admit that maybe he was a little bit less mature back in the day when he was young, because they were all young on Power Rangers. But he's grown, and he was a good person. So that's cool. So it's going to be a fun team up. I'm not going to think too deeply about the plot and get all bothered by inconsistencies or, you know, stuff like that. It's Power Rangers. Like, just give me a good, fun story. Like Forever Red. That was like, from a logic standpoint, was a ridiculous team up, but it was an awesome team up. The fact that they were on the moon, they were outside on the surface of the moon, breathing, no problems. What? But it didn't matter because you had 10 Red Rangers, and that's all you cared about. You had 10 Red Rangers, you had the action, that's all you cared about. That's all you needed. So give me that with this Power Rangers 30th anniversary episode. I'm hoping it's a two-parter. I'm hoping it's not just like 30 minutes because that'd be a lot to cram in 30 minutes. I'm hoping, I haven't seen anything about the length of it. I'm hoping it's like a two-part episode or like a 60-minute special or like a 90-minute special. This is like 30 years. So I'm hoping we get some time with these guys as they come back. It remains to be seen how it all rolls out. We know that Dino Fury is rolling into Cosmic Fury, which is an adaptation of another Super Sentai, at least I think. Again, I need to check out Dosum Rider and some of his videos, kind of see are they adapt, because it's going to be all new suits, American-made suits for the Rangers, which is interesting because we're going to get our first full-time female Red Ranger, which we got one, kind of a part-time one in Samurai. We got a kind of a part-time one in SPD with the Power Rangers, with the SPD A Squad, but to have a full-fledged, full-time female Red Ranger. Been waiting. Only took us 30 years, but we're here, so it's cool. That's going to be fun to see, and just the idea that they're doing original suits and just doing more original stuff. Because, of course, back in the day, it was basically take the Japanese footage, shoot some American stuff, just cram it together, cut and paste, dub over it, and that's your episode. Of course, as the years went on, and they got more money and other things, they started to do more American-made stuff. And we always kind of wondered how long we were going to stick to adapting Super Sentai. Because some of the Super Sentai stuff, just from a cultural standpoint, it's cool over there, but it's kind of, like, not so much over here. So some of that footage, adapting it's kind of like hit or miss as far as whether it works. So they started throwing more and more and more original stuff. We kind of wondered when we were going to finally break off, because the comic books from like your IDW and stuff like that show us that we can do fully original Power Ranger stories and content. So the fact that we're starting this I kind of wonder where it's going to go, and if we're going to get just wholly 100% American-made Power Rangers with nothing from Japan whatsoever. Kind of wondering if that's where we're going. It's cool because they can step out of the box and do different things from a narrative standpoint, from a power standpoint, from a special effects standpoint. There's so many things that they can do, not being beholden, not saying it's bad, because some of the Japanese stuff is great still, but not being beholden to it, I think can just benefit the series, take it to a new direction, take it to new heights, and make it even better than what's come before, and just keep the power going on and on and on. So it remains to be seen how it all shakes out. It's 30 years. God, I'm old. I remember being on the playground in like 6th grade. I was like, those scenes in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in the first season, whenever they encounter the monster, they've had their blade blasters. They'd be like, blade blasters up. They'd flip it around from the blade to the blaster. They'd shoot the monster. Of course, the blasts would like ricochet, and then they'd just all like, you know, jump and hit the ground or whatever. Me and my friends would be on the playground, 6th grade, be like 3 or 4 of us. We'd be doing that same thing, like blade blasters up, fire, you know, like every day. That's what we did. So to go from that to be as old as I am, Power Rangers is still on the air, and we're getting a 30th anniversary that throws it back to those original Rangers that got me so entrenched in it. It's cool. It's very cool. On the one hand, like I said, it makes me feel old as hell, but on the other hand, it's very, very cool. So I'm excited for it. It's coming out in April. It's my birthday month, so it's like an early birthday present for me. So I'm looking forward to it. Just seeing what they do and seeing what is to come over the next, 30 years of Power Rangers. God willing, if the creek don't rise and I live that long. So those are my thoughts on it, scattered as they often are, more so for this video than I think in a lot of videos in the past. What do you guys out there think? Power Rangers 30th anniversary special. Let me know in the comments below. Follow me on social media. Talk to me there. Talk to me here. Until next time, let us geek.